When you think about adventure, what comes to mind? I think of Yellowstone. I think of Glacier National Park. I think of Arches National Park. I think of Grand Canyon. I think of taking a picture between two massive rocks. I think of Rocky Mountain National Park. All of these things come to mind when I think about adventure. But that's often the problem when we think about adventure with that lens, because it seems really complicated. Just saying them out loud stresses me out because I'm like, that's a lot of planning. That's a lot of figuring it out. That's a lot of just everything. But what I've learned, and I learned this lesson the hard way through COVID in 2020 when we had to reinvent the world of how to keep these kids entertained, what I learned was adventures can be a lot simpler, and it doesn't have to be what your mind initially goes to, and the kids will love it just the same. So let me tell you a story. August of 2020, my wife wanted the house. She was having some friends over. I was happy to create that space so she could have some time away. But I had to figure out what I was going to do with the kids. And in that moment, I was like, what do I do? I'm just going to be like, I'm going to wing it. I'm going to improvise, adapt, and overcome, which is how the Marine Corps wired me to think. So it felt naturally to think of that way for this. So what I did was I loaded a whole bunch of stuff in the car. We had fishing rods, we had swim trunks, we had basketballs, we had Frisbees. You name it, we probably had a contingency to do it. And all I knew was an ice cream shop in New Glarus was my first waypoint. I had a few other ideas that I had Googled a little bit earlier to try to figure out like what could we do, but none of them really seemed like this is what we're going to do. So we picked that ice cream shop. And when I picked that ice cream shop, I didn't really have any idea what was in New Glarus, which is where this ice cream shop was. And directly across that street, as we're eating our ice cream, the kids noticed the city swimming pool is over there. And they were like, hey, can we go swimming? Hey, can we go swimming? And I was like, sure, let me look up see if there's any opening times for it. Turns out, about 30 minutes, they did have an opening. The next session changed. So we had all of the swim trunks, we had all the towels and everything, so we all changed in the car, got ready to go, and we had a blast for a good hour and a half during our session, playing at a pool that we didn't even plan on going to. And then there was a park next door, and the kids really wanted to play at the park. I'm like, why not? But then dinner came around. I'm like, okay, now what do I do? So we ordered a pizza locally and picked it up, brought it back to the park because can't eat inside. All the restaurants are still closed at this point. So we ended to eat at the park, and the kids just continued to have fun and play. And it was this amazing day of just randomness, but it's something the kids still talk about today. Looking back, they still talk about adventure days and when can we do another one? And I remember driving back, heading east, and the sun setting behind the car as we were driving home, and just thinking like, wow, I couldn't have planned this day any better if I'd tried. And if I did try, I probably would have messed it up and it would probably have been stressful. But there were so many magical moments of just curiosity, exploration, and just go with the next one. Like that is still their favorite day. And I also learned through that trial is that the kids really liked the mysteriousness of Adventure Day. Like they liked not knowing. They had ideas. They liked the idea we were planned for everything. So they got really excited about all the ideas we could do. But not knowing really helped. And the other key takeaway that I learned is when you're not sure of what to do for an adventure day, find an ice cream shop, hour, 2 hours away, point the car at the ice cream shop, and then figure out where you need to go. And another insider tip is when you're at that ice cream shop, ask the locals, hey, what are some good things to do? And I didn't do that when I was in New Glarus. And maybe if we had, we would have learned that there's mini golf right across the road, but we couldn't see that. And we didn't see it driving in because of how we drove into New Glarus. But those little hints would have helped even enhance it further. Another story about this is I don't have a truck. I have a Chevy Cruze. A Cruze cannot take bikes. So we can't really do some of the bigger ideas or anything that involves a bike outside of our neighborhood. So we've kind of landlocked with the bikes. So all we have is Razor scooters. And we were doing lots of bike rides in the summer. And once it got kind of cold, it's kind of cold riding around on a bike. So I was like, what do we do? I was like, well, okay, scooters are really slow. They're not as cold as it is on a bike. And I'm not as cold either. And so what we did was we loaded up the scooters in the car, and we found some paved paths to go on what we call now scooter adventures. And again, just attaching the word adventure to really any other word, has allowed me to create something exciting for them. And that's what they still want to go on. We're going on a scooter adventure. Hey, Dad said we're going on an adventure today. These are words that come out of their mouth at least once a weekend when I say what we're doing or where we're going, or maybe we are going on another adventure. And when I did those scooter adventures, we just found a park for, well, it was the first part. And then we found a paved path near the park that led to the park. So this spring, when it was like the first time the sun had been out, that we'd been warm enough to go outside, and we went and did this. And it was like the kids went to Disney World. There was a little stream next to the road, and it was just this incredible moment of just excitement, curiosity, and joy. And it was free. I didn't do anything. I just planned a little bit to park away from a park, ride a scooter to the park, and be ready. So what I want you to remember out of this episode, and the lesson that I'm hoping comes through to this, adventure is a lot simpler than you think. And it often, tying back to the kids, giving the kids the keys to the bus, they can have some of the best ideas of what adventure could look like. And it'll probably be 10 times simpler than you think. So this weekend, tell the kids, let's go on an adventure. Keep it simple. And I bet you'll have some amazing memories take you with you as the years go on. And I will be back with you tomorrow.